All right, good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. We had quite a bit of rain and stormy weather yesterday. Today we'll have some hit or miss storms, but overall it's going to be a drier day. Rain chance today about 30% or so for Central Texas. So let's get into things. Here's the severe weather outlook for today. Kind of like yesterday, we have that general thunderstorm risk, but nothing above that. So not a formal severe weather risk from the SPC today. What we do have though from the Weather Prediction Center is this low-end flood outlook. This does not include Austin today. It kind of shifts down to the southeast, and this kind of gives you a good idea of how we expect things to play out today. In fact, this morning, this is kind of the zone where we have some showers and storms that are underway. Here's what the radar looks like, a big complex of storms down in the Gulf, off the coast, and then some of those between Houston and, say, Fayette County. So it's the coastal plains here in Central Texas that are going to have the better chance for rain today. So with that, we will get into some of the model data here, and we'll see what the high-res model is printing out. Again, we will have some rain and storms around today, just not as much as the past few days. So this is the latest 11Z run of the high-res model. Through this morning, it is showing that potential for some hit or miss stuff, especially over Fayette County, Lee County, Bastrop County, Caldwell County. And then as we keep going into the afternoon, this is right at noon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. We're going to have just kind of hit or miss showers and thunderstorms around, even into the evening though. And I think we've got some high school football games and stuff that, or even scrimmages that are going on. Most of Friday evening is going to be dry, but could one or two storms develop and maybe cause some issues? That's possible. Again, as far as severe weather is concerned, low end potential for gusty winds. If anything, I think it'd be kind of like yesterday. We had some really crazy looking scary clouds. We're like, man, that's got to be severe, but it's actually not. It's just like 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, but some gusty wind potential, low end flood potential. All right, what about temperatures today? I'm thinking low to mid 90s again for afternoon highs. So the average for this time of the year is 98. So that'd be another day where hopefully we're able to stay cooler than average. Here's the temperature data off that high-res model. And, well, this would be nice. This is actually keeping a lot of areas in the upper 80s, low 90s today. I think that's probably a little bit wishful thinking, just depending on when rain forms. Again, for Austin, I'd put us like 95, 96 or so for the afternoon high today. Then as we go into the weekend, so for Saturday, there's going to be a smaller rain chance, like a 20%. Trending even drier Saturday. Highs will be a little warmer in the mid-90s, and then on Sunday, it's going to be basically completely dry. So we'll actually go to that. We'll kind of shift into the longer range forecast data here. And we'll talk details on the temperatures too here in a second, but I want to show you this. Here is our 6 to 10 day climate info from the from the Climate Prediction Center. So precipitation outlook, which now takes us through the end of August. This is the 27th of this month through the 31st. Shows actually above average precipitation for us here in much of Texas, including in Central Texas. And then this is the one that a lot of folks have been wondering about. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, dark blue to our north and northeast, where, yes, it looks like a nice little early season cold front, cool front, whatever you want to call it, is going to bring some cooler weather. And yes, maybe some of that makes it down into parts of Texas, especially North Texas and the Panhandle. But you could see here in Austin, we have no shading, which means near normal temperatures are expected. Then you actually get into above normal temperatures over South Central and South Texas. So let's go through some of the model temperature data. This is the European model, the 6Z that came in overnight. And I think that across the board, these numbers are a little too cool. We're probably not going to be in the low 90s today. And this 95 in Austin Monday is probably going to be more like 100. But you can see it does drop us into the mid and upper 80s. Wednesday, Thursday of next week with a little front coming in and our rain chances boosting. I am not going to put temperatures in the 80s on the 7-day forecast today. I think this is probably more along the lines of, not my exact forecast, but more along the lines of what we'll have in the forecast. The national model blend. So we'll be mid upper 90s over the weekend. This 98 on Monday, I'll probably make that like a 99 or a 100. And then as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, that's when rain chances go up. So I do think we have a decent bet at more of an active pattern again here in the Austin area, Tuesday, Wednesday. And again, it's got us low to mid 90s and mornings in the 70s. Now, we know that the global models, the lower res data struggles to resolve these cold fronts a lot of times. So we'll see, when the NAM starts coming in and some other high res data, we'll see what it's printing out for high temperatures. But again, as of now, I'm thinking, maybe we'll get some days around the middle of next week in the low 90s, maybe, some upper 80s. But while, technically that would be cooler than average for this time of the year, I don't really think we're going to get anything that you guys would consider to be too fall-like. So I'm just kind of pumping the brakes on that a little bit. Here's another thing I wanted to show you about how, maybe we'll get some cooler air to our north, but we're kind of struggling. These are the temperatures off the European model, just one model run. But for Tuesday afternoon next week, and you can see, hey, that's actually not bad. It's got like 60s and 70s over parts of the Texas Panhandle, 70s, 80s over North Texas. But again, here in that battle zone, this model's churning out some rain for us, so we'd have some rain-cooled air, but it's got, you can see it's 90s. It's still pretty hot. So we'll keep an eye on that around the middle of next week. I do think it will boost our rain chances a little bit. Latest numbers from the WPC showing some of those higher totals along the coast and then also to our north, and then here in like no man's land, nothing too crazy for us. And I'm not expecting an area-wide 2 inches of rain or anything like that, but again, around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, I do expect our rain chances to start to go up some again. Okay, so that's the local forecast. Again, here's the national model blend. We are going to have that hit or miss storm chance for today. 30% low end wind and heavy rain potential. Highs low to mid 90s. Drier Saturday, Sunday, mid to upper 90s. I do think we'll probably squeeze out a triple digit day Monday. And then around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week is when our forecast gets active again and then hopefully starts to cool down a little bit. Okay, what is going on in the tropics? Here's our 7-day tropical graphic from the Hurricane Prediction Center. We have Aaron, of course, which is still moving away from the East Coast. We have a wave back behind that, a high chance of development, but that's going to be kind of like Aaron, except even farther east. So that one's going to stay offshore, so even if it becomes something, it won't be a problem for the U.S. This thing's out here doing nothing. And then this one is the one to watch. Look, it still has a medium chance of development as it is heading towards the Caribbean, but the models are not really bullish on maybe it develops in the short term, but they're not really showing a huge storm as this approaches the Caribbean and certainly not the Gulf. So I like to show this graphic. Odds of a tropical depression over the next 10 days. Again, you can see Aaron obviously moving away, that system back behind it, which will go north. This wave that we're keeping an eye on, some new waves off of Africa. It's kind of interesting here over the southern Caribbean. But the bottom line is here in the Gulf, you're not seeing anything. So I don't have any immediate concern for tropical trouble in Texas or the Gulf for at least the next 7 days. Remember, hurricane season is long. The peak of the hurricane season is September 10th, so we're still not even to that. So I'm not saying nothing's going to happen for the rest of the hurricane season, but as of now, nothing concerning here in the short term. All right, so that's an update on the forecast. Hit or miss storms today, hotter, drier this weekend, and then we'll see what our little cool front can do as we get into the middle of next week. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you all have a good rest of your Friday and a good weekend, and I'll talk to y'all later.